Magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. Dr. Tristan Ramos, magandang umaga po. Dr. Carlos, Dr. Mel, at sa lahat ng mga kasama ko po sa Akademiya. At maraming salamat at sinamahan din po tayo sa mga responders. Pag meron po tayong disaster sa MMDA at saka yung sa Makati. Ano po? Buti naman at sumama kayo ngayong umaga. Kahapon lamang ay kung dapat nabasa niyo po sa mga online news, sinabi po ni Red Constantino, isa po sa mga NGOs po na nagbabantay po sa climate change and sustainability, ayon niya po, malinaw yung notion that climate change is a ticking bomb. Sinabi niya, ito po ay nag-explode na. Okay? Hinahanap na po natin ang consequences because po sa ating pagpapabaya sa ating kalikasan. So ngayong umaga po, ang inatasan po ako para po ipahayag sa inyo kung bakit po kinakailangan tayo po ay magsama-sama, magkakapit-bisig, magkiisa. Gayon pa man tayo ay mula sa iba-ibang university, institusyon, at iba-iba din lugar. At maraming salamat at sinamahan tayo ngayon from Biliran. Summer, ano po? Summer yun, sir? I'm sorry. Biliran province is in Leyte. No, near. Separate na siya. Okay, alright. My apologies. And, but in 2 months ago, when we were trying to organize it, about 2 months, sir, no, when we started, we even had representations from, not only from UPRI Science, but we also have, I believe, even from Mindanao. And we would like to believe in the succeeding forum or conferences, we will have a bigger representation. My task here is to discuss why is there an imperative to organize the academics for disaster risk reduction and climate action. First, allow me na tingnan po natin yung punot dulo kung paano ano ba talaga academic society. Even myself, when I was invited, what exactly is it? How different is it from a professional organization? According to some literature, the organization was actually referred to as a learned society. Nung araw ang tawag sa kanya ay learned society. From that term alone, it already connotes it's an aggregation of intellectuals, literati, scholars, and experts on a certain field. Parang ang tunog ay napaka-elitist, ano po? Minsan parang discriminatory. So, but then, tracing its beginnings, historically they said that the learned or academic societies were very exclusive to a particular discipline, usually at that time in the areas of philosophy. Its early beginnings were traced in Renaissance academies in Europe, in France as early as the 1300s, and then in London in the 1600s. Only after 100 years did the Americans found its own learned society, which was called the American Philosophical Society, and it was formed by Benjamin Franklin in 1743. Sa Asia naman, in the Orient, Lewis wrote that India and Singapore had it in the 19th century, while Thailand and Burma started theirs in the 20th century. Dutch and Scots, Jacobus Hademacher, Stanford Raffles, and James Logan, some names you're very familiar with, are credited for inspiring the creation of the pioneering societies like the Royal Ashok Society in Calcutta and the Batavian Academy of Arts and Sciences. So, from that historical account, it appears that it was India, Singapore, inspired by these Europeans, organized the academics in Asia. Learned or academic societies are formed for joint research and knowledge sharing. It provides a platform for interaction and collaboration among scholars, a collective intellectual forum, and to achieve coherence in the research agenda. It is open to the diversity of ideas and approaches in search for sustainable solutions. The academic society can elevate the quality of discourse what otherwise may have been too simplified by media. Saan yung galing? Katulad, for example, no, if we want to discuss something of contemporary issues, ang Dekbaksha has been blown out of proportion by media. And look at what we're facing right now. Scholars, people from UP Manila, from our PGH, and so with the other institutions are saying, wait, there's more to it. And that's why there is a need for us to be, one, unified, and to have a voice, and for media to listen to you, or to us. Because we are now facing a health crisis or health issue. It has been noted that the academicians were not just organized within a university. There was a need to connect with industry, with government. Kaya maraming salamat at nandito po yung MMDA, nandito po yung Makati Responders. Kasi dapat po nagkakaisa pa tayo sa pagtugon sa mga krisis. There was a need for scientific-based solutions for pressing concerns, be that in technology, health, environment, and even governance. The link between the academe, industry, and government actually yielded positive changes in both actors. For the government or industry, they're able to develop either new products, policies, or practices. For the end naman ng universities or academe, doon natin nahahanap ang bagong research agenda. And perhaps, as what literature also says, perhaps we can institute new curriculum. Or for the existing curriculum, look at how we can possibly effect changes, modifications, so that it will be more responsive to the demands of the times. There we will, because of that engagement, not only are we able to influence policies, but we are also able to improve the knowledge and skills of teachers and students because we are able to engage. We are no longer theoretical, but we are more practical and pragmatic. So the question asked is, so why is there a need to organize an academic society for climate and disaster resilience? The United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction, or UNIS-DR, and so with the other international organizations, have realized that the scientists must respond immediately, must need to act swiftly now to build resilient communities by building institutions and structures that hopefully will reduce destructive and disruptive effects. One of the priorities for actions listed by the United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction, or UNIS-DR, is to use knowledge, innovation, and education, quote, build a culture of safety and resilience at all levels in order to achieve substantial reduction of disaster losses in lives and in the social, economic, and environmental assets of communities and activities. Close quotation. However, sadly, that was mentioned in 2005, the 2009 Global Assessment Report indicated that there was very little progress in the use of knowledge, innovation, and education. Sayang po ang mga ginagawang pag-aaral. Hindi po na-disseminate, hindi po na-maximize, hindi po na pagkakaisahan. Naiiwan lang po sa library, siguro dahil sa promotion na kailangan na ng teachers mag-research. Merong grants sometimes are adopted by some agencies, but it could have been maximized. Thus, there is a reiteration now of the need to share and use information and knowledge through educational initiatives so that people, not only government, but even communities and individuals can make informed decisions and actions towards disaster resiliency. It was noted that there were only a few researches and analytical studies that were conducted as a regular component of policy planning at the government level and made available to decision makers, focusing on the extent to which disaster risk reduction initiatives actually reduce damage and losses. Here, it was mentioned in an input paper by Abanto et al. In 2014 for UNSDR that only a few researches and analytical studies looked into how researchers have really informed policymakers. Andito ba yung Climate Change Commission? Wala po. I'll share with you something. Sadly, nung in-interview po namin siya sa Far Eastern University, wala mention who, tinanong po namin, kamusta po ang plano ng gobyerno, national government, patungkol po sa climate change? Correct me, Dr. Mel, if I'm mistaken. Sabi niya, wala eh, watak-watak kami eh. Tama, sir? Na-shock ako. Ano? Wala palang malinaw na programa for climate change ang Office of the President. Apparently, there is a division within the Climate Change Commission, and it's sad. Well, again, as I mentioned, Amaratunga, Hay, and Tayaparan, in 2015 report, they suggested key activities on information management and exchange, education, and training, something that we can learn from, and they propose that we strengthen networks among disaster experts, managers, and planners across sectors and between regions, and create or strengthen procedures for using available expertise when agencies and other important actors develop local risk reduction plans. Promote and improve dialogue and cooperation among scientific communities and practitioners working on disaster risk reduction, and encourage partnerships among stakeholders, including those working on socio-economic dimensions of disaster risk reduction. Kasi po minsan akala lang natin that when we respond to disasters or prevent disasters, we only look at the help of engineers or scientists. Nakalimutan natin to look at the socio-economic dimension. Its third proposal was to promote the implementation of local risk assessment and disaster preparedness programs in schools and institutions of higher education. I believe that DepEd, we have a representative from DepEd here, had incorporated in its K-12 curriculum about disaster risk reduction. And that's why Dr. Meluna here was saying, I have a book, you might want to use it. Yes, it's there. But I guess we also need to retool even the teachers teaching that. And it should not only be between grades 11 and 12. I think the consciousness should even be as early as kindergarten, because they have to be also informed and aware of what needs to be done in their own little way. The literature I've read mentions of a network in Europe they called Android. It's an interdisciplinary academic society of European partners comprising of scientists from applied, human, social, and natural disciplines. They were formed for disaster resilience. It was aimed at influencing the higher education policy in Europe, making sure that climate change, disaster reduction, disaster resilience is integrated in the curriculum, either as a main or as a course or integrated in the subjects. I believe SHED has somehow responded to this, but we need to beef up or perhaps improve further. Well, one, review, and number two, improve on the curriculum perhaps. It aimed at interdisciplinary and intersectoral approach or cooperation to develop innovative European education to increase societal resilience and share the disaster knowledge among the stakeholders concerned and inform policy development. Interestingly, the Android network has developed an open educational resources platform It is open and free. It makes available digitized materials for educators, students, and self-learners to use and reuse for teaching, learning, and research. So if we are able to organize, one of the challenges is to make our researches available, not only for literature reviews, but hopefully for discussions and take-home points for policy reviews and changes. In 2016, academic leaders in Asia attended a conference in Tokyo to discuss how universities can maximize the impact and collaboration across discipline, sectors, and borders. According to a Japanese university executive, Professor Sanayushi Ito, we are facing sustainability challenges like growing population, food shortages, global warming, natural disaster, energy problems, poverty, and terrorism. He believes that science must address these problems and there is a need for integrated approach of collaboration and cooperation, mutual understanding and respect of differences, forgiveness, persistence, and perseverance. Meanwhile, a professor from Singapore's Nanyang Technological University, Professor Michael Kaur, stressed that global problems need a multidisciplinary approach, and there is a need for metrics to find the right collaborators. Climate change is not going to be solved by physicists alone. It has to be solved across disciplinary and geographical borders. Looking at our own home or our home base, the UPRI Resilience Institute actually conducted a survey among academicians who they had conducted to sit down 2 months ago and discuss the possibility of creating or organizing the academic society. All of them who may have had conducted researches and projects on disaster preparedness or disaster resiliency have articulated the need to organize, the need to form the academic society so we can exchange researches, experiences, lessons, resources, and discussions on how we can be relevant in our community and to the whole nation. We can collaborate in the conduct of researches as we aim for a province, region-wide, and nationwide study on people's awareness, knowledge, practices towards climate and disaster resiliency. We want to come up with a holistic approach to the pressing problem on hand. We need our scientists, psychologists, health workers, sociologists, entrepreneurs, communication experts, and even artists to act now and influence government action. Should I be at Greta Thunberg and say, how dare you? Maraming salamat po, and I hope you do understand na dapat po tayo magkakaisa para po itapan ang ating katatagan.